On a moon at the edge of council space, a forgotten shrine held a god silent for 6,000 years. An old priest, violet-skinned and weary, knelt and offered a prayer that bordered on despair. Then the air shimmered. A reply appeared. Glowing text in the ancient script, undeniable. The priest collapsed, trembling. After an eternity of silence, his god had spoken. But the message did not come from any divine realm. It routed through a diplomatic channel from Earth. The Council's archives recorded the event as an anomaly, a glitch in the sacred network. The next day, another prayer was answered. Then another. All 12 deities began responding. Prayers across the sector flooded in, and each answer bore the mark of that same terrestrial origin. Speaker Threl Vor convened an emergency closed session, demanding a trace on the communication source. The ancient gods, silent since the founding era, now spoke through Earth. The council did not know whether to pray or flee. The speaker convened a closed session. Acolytes ran through the corridors carrying prayer transcripts from a dozen worlds.
The 12 have broken their silence, but the conduit is terrestrial. Earth, explain yourselves.
The gods return, and they come not from the heavens, but from a foreign bureaucracy. There must be a mistake.
Mistake or infiltration. I want the communications traced to their physical origin. No assumptions.
The trace was irrefutable. Every prayer answer terminated at a single relay, Earth's diplomatic core.
Then the humans sit at the right hand of our creators, or they have stolen the throne.
Precisely. I will send a direct demand for explanation. This council will not be pawns of an alien scheme.
If they think we will simply accept a miracle, they misjudge this council.
The message was drafted. Earth must justify the messages or face a crisis of faith that could destabilize the entire sector. The reply came almost leisurely. Ambassador James will arrive within 1 day. No apology. No admission. The council chamber fell into an uneasy quiet. Hours passed while they waited for the human envoy.
A single day. Earth treats this as a routine affair. I feel no reassurance in their confidence.
Or they are stalling. Perhaps the ambassador carries nothing but more riddles designed to keep us docile.
The gods have always been silent. Now that they speak, I find myself terrified of what they might say.
Technical staff filed a final report. The messages physically originated from Earth's foreign ministry, 4th sub-basement, a dusty office no one had visited in centuries.
An office. After 6,000 years, our divine conduit is a room full of file boxes.
It feels wrong. Yet, when I read the prayer's answers, they are filled with such love. How can a lie feel so true?
Love can be a weapon. They may have found a way to mimic what we hold most sacred to disarm us.
A distant chime signaled the arrival of a ship in orbit. Ambassador James was aboard. The council rose in silence. The star overhead dimmed, as if the gods themselves awaited the human's first step. The shuttle descended through the station's docking bay, a blunt shape against the stars. When the hatch opened, the honor guard raised their ceremonial staffs, then lowered them in confusion. A single figure walked down the ramp. An old man with silver hair and a worn gray coat, carrying only a leather folder.
This is their ambassador. He looks like a librarian, not a statesman. What game does Earth play?
2 guards fell in beside him, but James walked as if alone, hands in his pockets, head slightly bowed. At the great doors of the council chamber, he paused. The carved figures of the 12 stared down at him.
6,000 years they have waited. Another minute will not break them.
The doors began to open. A sliver of golden light spilled across the stone floor.
The council awaits the explanation of Earth.
James adjusted the folder under his arm, stepped forward, and crossed the threshold. The chamber held its breath. 300 counselors stared at the solitary human.
He brings no gifts, no entourage, only that worn folder.
This place carries much memory. I regret I must add to its burden.
He set the leather folder on the ancient table with a soft echo. His hands were steady as he opened it. Inside, a single yellowed parchment crackling with age.
That is not a digital record. That is something older than our stars. Truth or blasphemy.
A piece of paper. He expects to shake our faith with a relic.
I will not read this aloud. The words are old and yours as much as ours. I ask only that you look.
The parchment bore 12 signatures, each in a different human hand, below a script older than any council tongue. The star above pulsed once, as if recognizing the document, and the council leaned forward as one.
6,000 years ago, a temporal experiment on Earth failed. 12 explorers were thrown across time and space.
They emerged on the world of your ancestors, disoriented, mortal, and terribly far from home. Your pre-sapient ancestors knelt before them, mistaking their lost technology for divine arrival. They gave no commandments, only seeds, irrigation, stitching for wounds, the quiet gifts of the stranded. Their temporal pod was damaged beyond repair. They knew they would never return to Earth.
They lived among your people for decades. They never claimed divinity. The worship grew in their absence.
The gods were castaways. They taught our children to plant seeds, not move stars.
Every sacred text, every temple, built upon a temporal accident and the gratitude of frightened primitives.
Their names are at the bottom. They signed a declaration of peaceful intent, asking only that their story be remembered.
A long, unbearable silence followed. The council stared at the 12 human signatures, as if seeing their own history for the first time.
But their story did not end on this world. They left children, and their children kept records.
A hologram bloomed above the table, a family tree with 12 roots and 200 branching generations.
For 60 centuries, 11 families maintained the original writings. The 12th line died out, but its memory was preserved.
11 human families carrying the accidental gospel. No deity, no plan, just ink and inheritance.
They never forgot. Through wars, through plagues, through the silence of their own centuries.
They believed the promise they made to their ancestors had weight, and they were right.
The tree extended to a cluster of living names at the very tips, men and women, most 70 years or older.
Living descendants. You are telling us the gods are not dead, they are retired.
They work in a small office now, in a quiet corner of Earth, and they have something for you.
The star overhead flared, not in threat, but like a heart skipping a beat. The council shifted in their seats, dreading what came next. James touched a control. The family tree dissolved into a live feed of a small sunlit office on Earth. Inside, a dozen elderly humans sat at old wooden desks, reading glowing screens with the patience of saints.
Grandparents with keyboards. This is what answered the desperate prayers of 1 trillion souls.
They are the 11th generation of archivists. They found the old communication codes 3 years ago during a basement cleanup.
One of them, a man with thick glasses, held up a child's prayer and smiled before typing a reply.
You expect us to believe this? This family hobby was kept secret for 6 millennia.
Not a hobby, a trust. They never broadcast. They only answered when the system automatically opened 6 months ago.
Our gods are retirees, and they have been answering our prayers with tea on the desk.
The feed showed a fresh prayer arrive in the old script, and an archivist began typing, humming an ancient tune. Some counselors covered their faces. Others stared in a grief that felt almost like reverence. Zephyrah's composure shattered. A wail escaped her, raw and ancient, echoing off the stone pillars.
All these years, we poured our souls into the void, and it was just an archive.
Is this some elaborate human mockery? Tell me now, before I order this chamber emptied.
I carry genetic samples from the original 12. I have their actual voices. I have the pod's dedication plaque.
He produced a small chain with 12 sealed vials, each containing a faint trace of ancient DNA.
DNA. He reduces the divine to a laboratory report, and I cannot argue with a single molecule.
Thrall 4 sank back into his seat, his staff clattering. He covered his face with both hands.
You deserved the truth, not the myth. I am sorry it came so late.
For a full minute, nothing but Zephyr's soft sobs filled the chamber.
What do we do now? Our entire civilization is built on a misunderstanding.
Earth anticipated this pain. We are prepared to close the channel forever, if that is your will.
The words landed like a physical blow. The star dimmed further, and the great hall seemed to shrink around them.
You would take away the only comfort our people have ever known.
The choice is yours, not ours. We will not impose a false god upon you.
A false god. That is what we have been feeding our people for 6,000 years.
We need time to deliberate. This cannot be decided in the wreckage of a single hour.
Take all the time you need. I will wait.
The counselors exchanged glances, centuries of shared leadership distilled into a single, silent plea for guidance. Thrall 4 slowly stood, his usual authority stripped away, leaving only the weight of his office.
We will reconvene in 1 hour. Until then, I ask Ambassador James to rest and my colleagues to pray.
James bowed and withdrew. The heavy doors closed behind him, sealing the 3 counselors in a small antechamber.
This must end. We cannot sustain a society on a lie, no matter how comforting.
A lie? I have read those answers, Thalik. They are more real than any sermon I have ever given.
One demands truth, the other clings to love, and I stand between them with nothing but a broken staff.
We have laws against fraud. If any priest did what that Earth office does, we would exile them.
But the office does not ask for tithes or power. They offer only words, and those words have saved my spirit 100 times over.
Enough. We will not settle this with argument. The only voice that matters now is the one we spent a lifetime ignoring.
He gestured toward a small prayer alcove in the corner of the chamber, where a tiny star flame flickered.
The flame of the 12. I have never prayed to it without believing. Can I now?
Kneel with me. If there is anything left of the divine in that channel, let it hear us now.
They knelt before the small flame, 3 old leaders, their shadows long on the stone.
To the 12 humans who walked our ancestors' soil, we ask what you would have us do with your memory.
The flame swelled, and a voice like old paper and summer rain filled the alcove. Dearest children of the forgotten, we have been waiting for this conversation for a very long time.
We are not gods, only gardeners who lost their way. But if our words can still offer comfort, we are honored.
Not gods, but comfort. That is more than the heavens ever gave.
The ancient words wrapped around them, each syllable carrying the weight of 200 generations.
We ask only that you choose what brings your people peace. Truth or mystery, we will respect it.
They gave us the same choice. No demand, no threat, only love.
The star dimmed to a patient, gentle glow, leaving them weeping in the half-light. They remained on the cold floor, arms wrapped around one another, centuries of formality washed away in tears.
I have spent my life as a rationalist. Today I learned that rationality can be cruel.
The crueler thing would be to silence love because it came from the wrong address.
Then we are agreed. The gods are not gods, but the office that answers is more sacred than any temple built on ignorance. Summon the ambassador.
The doors opened before the command was fully given. James entered slowly, his gaze moving to each tear-streaked face.
Ambassador James, we have something to ask of you.
I am here to listen.
The 3 counselors straightened, a strange, quiet dignity settling over them, despite their tears.
We would ask that the prayers continue. Not as a divine deception, but as a bridge between our peoples.
The star above glimmered, A single pulse of light, as if someone very far away had just smiled. James did not answer immediately. For a long moment, he simply looked at the three counselors, his face unreadable.
They ask not for gods, but for friends. That is a request no human archivist would refuse.
Please, we have nothing left to offer but our gratitude and our silence. The public will never know.
She speaks for me as well. For the first time in my life, I pray that a human will say yes.
For 6,000 years, your ancestors waited. We ask only that you wait with us a little longer.
The silence stretched, heavy with the weight of two civilizations and the ghost of a temporal accident.
The council has turned from authority to supplication. Earth did not anticipate this. We expected anger, not hunger for connection.
On the display, the Earth Office feed showed an archivist finishing a response and leaning back with a gentle smile.
So much love in that room. How could I possibly say no? But I must hear the voice of the office.
James raised his eyes, meeting Threlvor's gaze. The room held its breath. James slowly reached inside his coat and withdrew a small ancient recording device. He pressed a worn button. Static crackled. Then a gentle, weathered voice filled the chamber. To the Council of the 12. We are the descendants of those you called gods. We have received your request. For 60 centuries, our families kept a promise of kindness between strangers. We never sought worship. If comfort is all we offer, we will answer with love and honesty, as we have always done. With deepest respect, the archivists of Earth. Zephyra pressed a hand to her mouth, fresh tears streaming, but this time she smiled through them. Threlvor closed his eyes, his chest heaving as if straining not to break. James let the recorder fall silent, his gaze moving from one counselor to the next, reading the profound shift. The request was not yet formal, but the answer had been given. The council waited for the words to make it real.
The United Earth government respects your request. The prayer responses will continue.
A collective exhale swept through the chamber, as if the air itself had been holding its breath.
Thank you, thank you. May the 12 bless your people forever.
You have given us more than our gods ever did. You gave us honesty.
I will ensure the records reflect a diplomatic agreement, nothing more. The people will not know what we know.
Then this stays between us, a private bridge.
Threlfor extended his hand, and James took it, a simple gesture that sealed a covenant no treaty could contain.
Now they carry the burden of keeping a secret from their own people. I hope they find peace with it.
The floating star pulsed, a rhythmic warmth, as if the 12 souls were applauding from across time. The chamber seemed to brighten, the weight of millennia lifting, though the world outside would never know.
The public must never know, not now, not in 1,000 years. The faithful need their gods. We will carry this truth to our graves. It is the price of peace for billions.
He turned to James, his voice losing its oratorical strength, becoming a simple request.
Occasionally, could your archivists send a message of guidance? Phrased as a blessing, perhaps.
They would be honored, but you must understand, they will never command, only comfort.
Zephyra nodded, her tears a quiet amen. Thalik looked away, jaw tight, a silent soldier accepting an uneasy peace. Threlfor reached for the parchment, pressing his forehead to the ancient signatures as if sealing an oath.
12 gardeners of old, forgive us for the myths we built. We will tend your memory with care.
So the gods become ancestors, and the bridge is built of silent truths.
The star dimmed to a soft nightlight glow, and the chamber settled into a fragile, hopeful quiet. The quiet was broken by Threlvor's voice, steady now, though still edged with tears.
On behalf of this council and every soul who has prayed, I thank Earth. You could have exploited our faith. Instead, you gave us back our gods and the truth.
James inclined his head, a simple gesture that said much.
We only answered letters from family, nothing more.
Zephyra smiled through her tears, a smile that seemed to light the whole chamber.
Maybe rationality isn't the enemy of faith. Maybe it's its guardian.
The star above glowed warmly, as if the 12 explorers had heard and approved.
The archivists will be glad. They've always wondered if their letters found the right hands.
Thrall 4 closed his eyes, a single tear tracing a path through the dust on his cheek. For a moment, there was no council, no earth, no 6,000 years, only a room where love had finally been named. The 3 counselors rose as one, a silent bow offered to the old man in gray. James returned the gesture, deeper, slower, as if acknowledging a debt older than empires. Then he turned, hands still in his pockets, and began the long walk out of the chamber. Thrall 4 watched him go, then gestured to an alcove, where a muralist waited with a blank wall.
Paint 2 peoples, not gods. A human hand reaching toward ours.
The muralist, trembling slightly, dipped his brush and began a new design.
They will remember us not as gods, but as the friends they never knew they had.
At the threshold, James paused and looked back, catching Threlvor's eye one last time. The speaker nodded, and that nod said everything. Then the doors closed, and the chamber was left to its new silence. A silence full of answered prayers. The Earth office stirred with the first light, a small building in a valley where mist clung to the trees. Inside, the archivists arrived one by one, switching on lamps, filling kettles, settling into chairs worn soft by decades. A screen chimed, the first prayer of the day, from a child on a distant world, asking if the gods were still there. An old woman, her hands steady despite her years, read the message and began to type a reply, her eyes gentle. The calendar on the wall was marked with gold stars. Each day they had answered, a quiet constellation. Steam rose from a cup of tea, forgotten beside the glowing console. As the reply was sent, then another message arrived. Not a prayer, but a formal communiqué from the council. 2 simple words of thanks. The archivists gathered, reading it together, and for a moment they were silent. Then one laughed softly, and another wiped a tear, and they all returned to their desks. The office hummed with the quiet music of keyboards, each keystroke a bridge across the stars. On a world far from the council's heart, a young child knelt beneath a night sky thick with stars. Great ones, are you still there? I am scared of the dark. In the Earth office, the prayer appeared on a screen, its alien script glowing softly. The elderly woman with silver hair read the simple words and smiled, remembering her own childhood fears. Her fingers tapped the keys, composing a reply as gentle as a lullaby. We are here, little one. You are never alone. Close your eyes, and we will watch over your dreams. She pressed send. The answer leaped across light years in an instant. The child's communicator chimed. Wide eyes scanned the glowing text, and a gasp of pure joy escaped. The child clutched the device to their chest, tears of relief streaming, and laughed into the night. Far above, the star dimmed to a soft, comforting glow, a nightlight for the galaxy. The council never publicly acknowledged the truth. They also never went to war with Earth again, and in a quiet office on a rural Earth morning, the gods continued answering prayers, kindly, patiently, forever. The star in the council chamber glimmered softly, a silent witness to an eternal covenant. In the Earth office, the archivists filed the thank you message and returned to their daily rhythm. Dusk fell over the valley, and the office lamps glowed through the windows like tiny stars, and the gods, who were never gods, answered another prayer with a gentle keystroke. In the empty council chamber, the star gleamed once more, a pulse of light across the galaxy, and the story, whispered between galaxies, continued without end.